Well, happy Monday morning to everybody. Hope you had a great weekend and you're ready for a productive week this week. Starting things off, we did play on Friday. I played the first game from July 5th because I had an extra day to fit in that game. So we got that started, and that was Minnesota and Baltimore. And now we're at the second game of July 5th, but I'm not sure which game I want to play. So I'm going to make this viewer's choice, so to speak. Hello, Ben. PTO is always a good thing. So there's three games to choose from, and I'm going to make it viewer's choice. And whichever one of these three games is picked as the winner, I'll play it right now, and we'll set up the score sheet and go through the whole 9 yards that I go through to set up everything before we start. Now, I did not include the West Coast games. These are three games that are not on the West Coast. So your choices are Texas at the Yankees, the White Sox at Cleveland, or Toronto at Kansas City. I will play one of those three games right now. And I've got the ballpark effects sheet right here ready to go, a blank score sheet, which I am ready to fill in, and the Strat computer up. All I got to do is fire up the particular game. And so it looks like we got two early Toronto and Kansas City votes. So, yeah, all right, that's where we'll go. Toronto and Kansas City. That's what we shall do. So let me go to the Strat computer and pull up that game. It's going to be Dave Stieb against Charlie Leibrandt. That's the pitching matchup on this one from Royal Stadium. So I can go ahead and fill in that this is Royal Stadium. And now we'll get the ballpark effects. I think it's symmetrical, so I don't think there's any specific left and right stuff. Nope, it's 11 and 3. So 11 for singles, 3 for home runs. That way you get to watch my chicken scratch as I do all this stuff that I usually do pregame, but decided to do something a little bit different today, just to kind of try to mix things up a little bit. So we said it will be Dave Stieb for Toronto against Charlie Leibrandt. And I'm trying to remember, let me go over here, get to my setup screen in Strat-O-Matic, the little game notes that kind of tells me the records and whatnot. So Leibrandt actually is EI. I always forget if it's IE or EI. But Leibrandt comes to the game with a record of 4 and 8. Steve comes in with a record of 9 and 4. All right. So Toronto, as a team, they are 47 and 32. And Kansas City is a team. And this is probably a one-time only that I'm going to be doing something like this. So if you're bored to tears, wait till tomorrow. I'll be back on our normal procedures. Just wanted to try to do something a little bit different today. That's all. All right. So let's get to our box score so that I can get the lineup and whatnot, and make sure I have all the proper bullpen and benches. I don't think there's been any roster changes, but you never know. So let's get Toronto going, since they are the visiting team. Toronto, managed by Jimmy Williams, was 96 and 66. And Tony Fernandez will get the call as a leadoff man at shortstop. Tony Fernandez. This way you get the origin of my chicken scratch, so you can see, just because I know it's hard to believe anybody could write this bad, but there you go. Tony Fernandez, Lloyd Mosby hits second. If anybody's watching this later, you can probably fast forward for about 5 minutes and pick it up when the game starts. Look at the coffee cup. It'll be the ceremonial first pitch. That'll give you the symbol or the signal that the game is about to start. Hello, Jason. Hello, Mark. Yep, I am going to, as soon as this game is over, actually, I'm going to set up my golf and record it and put it out this afternoon. That's a good idea, Tribe Fan. I think I will do that. I'm not very proficient at some of this YouTube stuff, so but that's a good idea. If people read the description, I don't know. I mean, a lot of times when I watch other people's videos, I hardly ever look at the description. I just look at the title. Maybe I need to start looking at the descriptions more. I don't know. 1 - 5 and an E3 for Barfield. Batting cleanup, of course, is going to be George Bell. And the Blue Jays are going to have their right-handed hitting lineup in against the lefty. So you're going to see guys like Kelly Gruber and Cecil Fielder, not Fred McGriff or anybody like, and not Rance Mulliniks. So here's Bell. He's in left field, and he's a 2 - 2 in E13, and he's a 13. And this is a two-sided score sheet. So my next game is going on the back side of this sheet, so you guys can let me know, or either I can figure out on my own who I'm going to put on the back side. It's either going to be Chicago, Cleveland, or it's going to be Yankees and Texas, one of the two. I don't know which one. All right, so after Bell, I got to go find Fielder because he's on the back side here. So Cecil Fielder runs at a 9. He is the DH. Cecil Fielder. Batting 6th will be Kelly Gruber, third baseman. 3E24 for Gruber. He runs at a 15. Third base, Gruber. Batting 7th will be Willie Upshaw, one of the few lefties in the lineup. And 2E11. This also gives me a chance to show you guys the benches and the bullpens for both teams so you know who's on the roster and who's not. Manny Lee is going to bat 8th at second base. And he is a 3E32, running at a 15. And despite the lefty on the mound, Ernie Whitt is going to catch, but he's going to bat 9th. He usually never bats 9th, but that's a product of the lefty on the mound. His T rating is a 4. Don't know what his pass ball rating is yet until I get to the computer. Let's see here. He's a 2-0 E2, and he runs at a 10. He's a 0 arm, and Dave Stieb, find his card here. Dave Stieb is a -2 hold, so that makes him a -2 on his hold. We'll have to get his balk and wild pitch rating off the computer as well. So there's your starting lineup for Toronto. Now we'll do the same thing for Kansas City. Let me get Kansas City's lineup out here, and we're going to start, as you might expect, with Willie Wilson in center field. And he is a 1-2 and an E1 and a 17. Kevin Seitzer hits next and plays third base. Looks like, from what I'm looking at, it looks like it's pretty standard. Well, one thing, Frank White's not playing. They got Bianca Lana at second base instead of Frank White. That's one thing I see that's different. 4E26. And a 13. And then we got George Brett at first base. No bye-bye Balbonians to start this game. So Brett's at first. He's a 3E12 with the 14. Batting cleanup is Tartable as usual. In right field. 407. 14. Hello, Dan. I'm doing something different, Dan, in case you're curious. All right, so let's see. Bo Jackson, Bo Nose is up next. He will hit. Actually, no, he will not. Eisenreich, designated hitter, is going to bat 5th. Jim Eisenreich. Then Bo Jackson. Eisenreich's the DH, and he's a 12. And then Bo Jackson in left field. And Bo Nose is a 4, -2, E14, running at a 17. And next up is going to be the catcher, Jamie Quirk. His T rating is a 3. He is a 4, 1, and a 10 with an 11. Then at second base is Buddy Biancalana. Buddy Biancalana, much better at second base, where he's a 2E27 versus a 3E88. So Buddy Biancalana. And then Salazar, the shortstop, will bat 9th. So Salazar is a 2E16 with a 13. And then we go to Leibrandt and get his hold rating. Where is Leibrandt? There he is. Charlie Leibrandt's a -2 hold with quirks of +1, makes him a -1. All right, so there are your starters. Let's go now to the actual game, and I can pull up the rosters, active rosters, first for Toronto, and see who is available off the bench and bullpen. Shouldn't be like I said, I don't think there's a big roster shift or anything. So on the bench, we have Rance Mullenix, we have Fred McGriff, Garth Orge, Rick Leach, and Charlie Moore. So that hasn't changed. Those are the 5 on the bench. In the bullpen, we do have Tom Hinkie. We have Mark Eichhorn. We have Jose Nunez. We have Jeff Musselman. And we have, what happened to Gary Lavelle? I need to bring back Gary Lavelle off the minors. I think I put him in the minors and left him there and forgot about him. So let me get Lavelle. Got a whole stack of minor leagues here. So let me pull up Toronto and get Gary Lavelle out of there. I guess he got sent down temporarily and now he's back up. So where is Gary Lavelle? I know I had a card for him somewhere. There he is. So Gary Lavelle is back. Alrighty. So let's see, did somebody go off the roster? Let's see, Clancy is there, Key is there. So Rudy, is he still there? Yep, he's still there. Well, yep, okay, so they're still there. Everybody's still the same. So they got 2 lefties in the bullpen, Musselman, Lavelle, and 3 right-handers, Hinkie, Nunez, and Eichhorn, so that you know who is available out of the Toronto bullpen. And if you wonder why somebody didn't pitch or somebody didn't pinch hits, because they weren't on the roster. And now you know. All right, so now let's figure out Kansas City's bench and bullpen. And on the bench for Kansas City, we got Frank White. We have Steve Bye-Bye Balboni. We have Thad Bosley. We have Larry Owen, Juan Beniquez, and the ancient Hal McRae is still hanging around. So got all of those guys on the bench. In the bullpen, we have Bob Stoddard. We have Steve Farr, Dan Quisenberry, and Jerry Don Gleaton. That's it. Those are the 4. 1 lefty, Jerry Don Gleaton. The other 3 are right-handed. And they are on the benches and the bullpens for each team. So now you know what we have to work with as far as players go. And it is going to be Charlie Leibrandt against Dave Stieb. So now let's go to the computer and get Charlie Leibrandt's wild pitch and balk rating, because those are not on the cards but need to be filled in. It's one of my last pieces to do. Yeah, I'm not sure if it's called a pregame show, Ben. It's like I said, just kind of something just felt like doing it this morning for whatever reason. So he's a 7 wild pitch and a 5 balk. And we get Jamie Quirk's pass ball rating. Probably like a 3 or something, but I don't know. It's actually a 6. Pass ball a 6. And we do the same thing for Toronto. We'll get Dave Stieb's wild pitch and balk rating, and then we'll be ready to go. So that's a 4 wild pitch and a 0 balk. And we get the pass ball rating of Larry Owen. I'm sorry, not Larry Owen, of Ernie Witt. Ernie Witt, pass ball is a 3, so he's good to go. All right, so now we are ready to go. This is the way I would normally start the game right here, or start the stream right here. We'd have everything ready to go, and we'd be going over Charlie Leibrandt's statistics, which is what we will do here. So let's look at Charlie Leibrandt on the 1987 season. Why is that fuzzy? There we go. Charlie Leibrandt, 16-11, 3.41 ERA on the actual season. On the replay, Leibrandt is 4-8 with a 3.68 ERA, 122 innings pitched, 116 hits, 43 walks, and 83 strikeouts. And of course, he will be facing Fernandez, Mosby, and Barfield. So let me get a look here on the timestamp with Mr. Tribe Fan so I can figure out. Do we know what time? I don't know what. Where's this thing tell me how long I've been going? Let me see here. It says 16 minutes. I can put 16:30 because it looks like 16:30. So I'll put in the timestamp. In the description that first pitch is at 16:30. And of course, I'll change the title to actually include the teams too. I put question marks because, like I said, I wasn't sure who was going to do what. One thing it's not going to change: ceremonial first sip. Got to have it. So the ceremonial first sip, and we are now officially ready to go with this first pitch. Got our dice as usual. So Tony Fernandez stepping in. You say use whatever? It will underline 16:30. I don't know. I'm whatever you want after the 16:30. Okay. You say it'll be underlined for them to go straight to 16:30. It'll fast forward them if they click on that description. It'll send them straight to 16:30. Is that what you're saying? Cool. Okay. I didn't see. I'm learning something all the time. I had no idea you could do that. That's pretty cool, actually. Okay, that's a good idea. Of course, why would anybody want to miss this first 16 and a half minutes is beyond me, because that was, classic TV. That was more entertaining than watching somebody walk around the neighborhood or round corners. All right, here's Tony Fernandez. He's hitting 336 on the replay, 330 driven in. Hit 322 real world. 2-7, and that is a ground ball to short. And we're underway. Fernandez is retired, 1 away. And that'll send us now to Lloyd Mosby, center fielder. Mosby hitting 326 on the replay, 20 homers, 66 driven in. He hit 282 real world. 210 against the lefties, a ground ball to short, 2 away. And that'll bring up Jesse Barfield, right fielder. He's leading the league in home runs, overly exceeding home runs. He's already got 31 homers and 77 runs batted in, hitting 328. He only hit 28 home runs real world, and he's barely over half his at-bats. He hit 263 real world. 6'4", that's a ground ball third base X. We're looking at Seitzer. He's a 4.E26. 4 and a 12. Let's see if that his play is going to be made. 4 and a 12 is a G3, so he'll get to it. Let's see. His error rating's of 26. So he's got to avoid 10, 11, 15, and 17. Whoa, that didn't go through. 10, 11, 15, and 17 are numbers to avoid. That's a 13, so he's fine. So good play there by Seitzer to end the inning. So 3 easy ground ball outs induced by Charlie Leibrandt. If he got the ground ball working, that means he's on top of his game. So he's off to a good start. Nothing for Toronto here in the first. We go to the bottom of the first. It is Toronto nothing, Kansas City coming to bat. And now, Dave Stieb, your pitcher for the Toronto Blue Jays in the 87 season, 13-9 with a 4.09 ERA. I don't know if he ever pitched a no-hitter. I know he had like a couple times where he lost the no-hitter with 2 outs in the ninth. It was very heartbreaking for him. I don't know if he ever actually got that no-hitter in the real world or not. I know he's close many times. On the replay, 9-4 with a 4.20 ERA, 111 innings pitched, 92 hits, 53 walks, 80 strikeouts. And the first man up is going to be Willie Wilson, veteran, but still with some speed. Oh, he did pitch one in Cleveland. Okay. I know he was close several times, and he just gave up that, like 2 outs in the ninth or something, or 1 out in the ninth. He lost it. So I'm glad he at least got one. All right, Wilson on the replay hitting 275, 2 homers, 17 driven in. He hit 279 real world. That's a 110 for Wilson, and that is a ground ball right back to Stieb. One away. And we're probably looking at about a 3 o'clock Eastern time frame for the final round of the PGA Championship. That's probably when I'll put it out, about 2:30 or 3 o'clock, somewhere in that neighborhood. And then tonight, of course, you got the final game of the Rockies and the Braves in the Rockies Horror Baseball Show. All right, so Kevin Seitzer is up next. Seitzer hitting 296, 9 homers, 42 driven in. And he hit 323 in the real season. It's a 311, and that's a ballpark single check. It's 1, 2, and 11 for a base hit. And that is 11, round the number. So there goes the no-hitter for Stieb early. You don't have to sweat it out now. Seitzer gets the single. He's also potential threat to run, although Stieb is a -2. So if he got the lead, it'd be 1 to 11. But still, anytime you have an asterisk there, I feel like I need to at least attempt the lead to simulate the caught stealings. So 5 or 6 to get the good lead. And he does not get it, so it's a moot point. Here's George Brett, first baseman. Brett on the replay hitting 280. Hit 8 homers, 19 driven in on the replay. Hit 290 real world. 3-5 for Brett, and he's going to walk. First walk issued by Stieb. First and second. 1 out for Danny Tartabull, right fielder. Tartabull hitting 312 on the replay, 18 homers, 54 driven in. He hit 309 real world. That is a 5-10, and that's another ballpark single check. 1 to 11. Once again, this would load the bases. And 11, round the number again. Happened twice now that way. Bases are loaded with only 1 out, and designated hitter Jim Eisenreich, the batter. Steve's got to feel a little frustrated. Eisenreich, in 26 at-bats in the replay, is hitting 269, a homer and 6 driven in. In 105 at-bats real world, he hit 238. Infield for the Blue Jays is playing back for the double play. Oh, White missed the shoot there. Let's try that again. There we go. 5-5 to the lefty. That's a fly ball, right field B. That'll be a sacrifice fly. Despite the strong arm of Barfield, Seitzer will tag and score. And the Royals lead it 1-0. 7th RBI on the season for Mr. Eisenreich. Two down for Bo Nose, and it's a clutch situation for Bo Jackson. So in the clutch, he will lose a hit 2-3 and 3-10. Bo hitting 243 on the replay, 14 homers, 37 driven in. He hit 235 real world. And we get a 1-8 for Bo, and he's going to strike out, and that'll end the inning. First strikeout for Stieb, but Kansas City strikes first. At the end of 1, they lead Toronto 1-0. Top of the second we go, and George Bell, the batter. Bell on the replay is hitting .302, 27 homers, 72 driven in. He hit .308 real world. And that is a 6-11, which is a base on balls. First one issued by Leibrandt. Bell not going to go anywhere. Reason I kind of jokingly said there goes the no-hitter there is in last night's game with the Rockies. I didn't realize it, but the Atlanta pitcher gave up a single to start the game, and then the Rockies didn't get their next hit till the ninth inning. So, I mean, it was like almost like a no-hitter was going on. I didn't even realize it, but it wasn't a no-hitter because the very first guy got the hit, but everybody else was just, they were just not getting anything done. Here's Cecil Fielder, designated hitter. Cecil Fielder hitting .278 on the replay, 15 homers, 27 driven in. He hit .269 real world. That's a 1-3, and that's going to be a straight up single. There's an anti-clutch there, but we're not in that situation. So it will be a single. Does Bell want to try for third is the question. He was not being held, which makes him a 14. Then you get two more for going to third base, 1-16. So they're going to send him 1-16 to third base. They're going to try it. And he's in there barely. Slides in, just barely gets there. Cites or protest, but umpire says that Bell got in there. So a single and aggressive base running by Toronto pays off. And now we got first and third, nobody out for Kelly Gruber. Gruber on the replay is hitting .280, 8 homers, 25 driven in. He hit .235 real world. Royals playing back for the double play. 5-9, and that's a ground ball pitcher B, so they're going to get Bell at the plate because the pitcher is always assumed to be in. On a ground ball B, the runner on third is out. So he's out trying to score. Fielder will make second base, and Gruber reaches on the fielder's choice. So tough break there. They were going on contact, and it just went right to Leibrandt, and Bell was in no man's land. So that is quite a break for Kansas City. Get the lead dog. First and second, one out, still not out of the woodwork by any means. Willie Upshaw, one of the few Blue Jays who are underperforming. He's only hitting .209 on the replay, 4 homers, 26 driven in. He hit .244 in the real season. Lefty-lefty matchup. 6-5, and that's a fly to left. Bo Jackson puts that away, 2 down. Leibrandt one batter away from getting out of the mess. He's got to deal with Manny Lee. Clutch situation for Lee, and in the clutch, he loses a hit on 2-3 and 3-5. Manny Lee, switch hitter. And on the replay, Lee is hitting .209. No homers, 4 driven in. He at .256 real world. That is a 1. This thing fell back here a little bit. 112 for Manny Lee against the left-hander. It's a strikeout plus possible injury. So Manny Lee could be out of here for this game, and they'd have to go to another second baseman. 1-6, he can stay in the game. 7 or higher, he's got to come out. And he stays in the game. So Manny Lee fights it off and toughs it out and stays in the game. However, Toronto, first and third, nobody out and can't score. That could come back to bite them. We go to the bottom of the second. Still 1-0. Of course, Kansas City in second place, trailing Oakland, so they need all the wins they can get. And Toronto is chasing Milwaukee as well, but it's a battle of 2 second-place teams. It's just a matter of who's going to make a move against the first-place teams. So Jamie Quirk will lead things off. He's hitting .287 on the replay, 2 homers, 20 driven in. He hit .236 real world. That's a 4-7, and that's another base on balls for Stieb, his second. Leadoff walks usually are not the best thing in the world to have happen. Very good, Joe, 1964. I heard it was a great season, but only thing I know about that season is I think the Phillies blew a big lead. That's the only thing I know about the 64 season. All right, here is Buddy Biancalana, second baseman. Biancalana has had 31 at-bats in the replays, hitting a .194, no homers and a run driven in. He hit .213 real world in 47 at-bats. He's not a very good bunter, so we're not going to have him bunt either. He's going to have to swing away and deal with it. That is a 1-6, and that's going to be a strikeout. Strikeout number 2 for Stieb. And that'll bring up the number 9 hitter, Angel Salazar. Salazar hitting .221 on the replay, 2 homers, 14 driven in. He hit .205 in the real season. And we get a 3-4. And for Salazar, he's going to pop it up to third. Gruber right there, 2 down. So Stieb trying to pitch around that leadoff walk. And now it's back to the top of the order for Willie Wilson. And that is a 2-6 for Wilson. Ground ball to short. Easy play for Fernandez, and that will do it for the Royals in the second. So 2 innings have been played, and it's 1-0 Kansas City. As we head to the third, and number 9 hitter Ernie Witt, the catcher for Toronto. He'll be leading things off, trying to get something started for the Blue Jays. They've been a little bit sluggish the last 10 games or so. Haven't been as proficient as they would like. Witt on the replay hitting .256. 7 homers, 27 driven in. He hit .269 real world. That's a .210 against the lefty. That's a solid double for Ernie Witt. Leadoff double for Ernie Witt. Maybe that'll get him going. 10th double of the season for Witt. He had 24 of those real world. So Witt with the leadoff double, and back to the top of the order, and Tony Fernandez. It's a 2-5, and that's going to be a ground ball to third. Seitzer will get it. Look Witt back to second. Throw to first, and that's 1 away. So Fernandez unable to move the runner up, which is what you're supposed to do in Baseball 101, is get that runner to third base at all costs, and he didn't do it. Here comes Lloyd Moseby, lefty-lefty matchup. Moseby grounded to short his first time up. 4-11, and that's a fly ball right field X. We're looking at Tartable. He's a 4, so he may not get to this. 4-11, that's going to be close. 4-11. 4-11 isn't single. He did not get to it. It's the last number in the single. Single 2 stars for Moseby. That'll score Witt, and we got a tie game. So that's where that 4 range outfielder really hurts you. E7, he's got to avoid 6, 15, 16, and 18, which he does that. There's no error on the play, but it's a RBI single from Lloyd Moseby. RBI number 67 from Moseby on the replay. We're tied at 1 apiece. And now Moseby will look to get a good lead. He needs a 2 through 5. And he doesn't get it. He'll hold for Jesse Barfield. Whoop, that one fell out of the wayside there. Try that again. There we go. 3-8 against the lefty. And that's a 1-16 single. 17-20, he lines out to Salazar. And he does line up to Salazar on the 19, so that's 2 away for George Bell. 4-5, and that's going to be a line out to Biancalana. And that will end the inning, but the Blue Jays do tie it at 1 apiece. RBI single from Lloyd Moseby. Go to the bottom of the third, tied at 1. And for the Royals, they have heart of the order, Seitzer, Brett, and Tartable coming up. As soon as I put all this in the computer and get caught up, there we are. So Kevin Seitzer singled and scored the only run of the game for the Royals back in the first inning. We get a 5-9, and that's going to be a fly to center. Moseby puts that away. Oops, right there. 1 down. And assuming I do one day finish this project, which hopefully I will do sometime next fall, when this will be finally finished, I would like to do a full season replay, both leagues, but that would be, an older season, like when they only had 8 teams per league, just to keep the games, uh, the number of games manageable. But I would like to do that at some point. Maybe 1941, 52 season I just bought. It's a possibility. Although I don't know that much about 52, but that'd be a great way to learn about 52. I know a lot about 41 just from reading the history books and whatnot, but 52, I really don't know anything about it other than the fact that the Dodgers and Yankees played in the World Series. That's about the extent of my knowledge for 52. But I bought it, so I may as well use it, right? So here we go. George Brett. 4-8. And that's a strikeout. Strikeout number 3 for Stieb. Of course, by the time I finish this replay, Strat would have come out with some more older seasons, you would think. So there could be some, maybe they surprise us and come out with 75 or something. Then I would definitely go that route. But other than that, probably would stick to this. Something older where you get lower fewer teams and whatnot. So here's Danny Tartable. 5-9 against Stieb, and that's a fly to center. 1-2-3 inning. Go the Royals. Fortunately, I'm retired, so I do have the time to do it. It's just, do I feel like when you start one of these things, like when I started this thing way back when, I was still working. And I had no idea what I was getting myself into, but here we are, game 556, so we're almost halfway there. All right, here's Cecil Fielder, 4-7 against Leibrandt. It's a ground ball second base X. That's Biancalana. He's a 2E27. 2-18 is good. E27 at second base. Check that error possibility. E27, he's got to avoid 13, 15, 17, and 18. And he does just that. So Biancalana will throw out Fielder. 1 away. But it's nice to sit there and think about what you might do in the future. Here's Kelly Gruber. Uh, 5-6 for Gruber. And that's going to be a base hit. 1-8 is a double. 9-20 is a single. And that's a single for Kelly Gruber. Gruber has a chance to get a lead. He needs a 4 or a 5. Gets the 5, he's going to go. He's a 19, being held is a 17. -1 for the hold is a 16. So 1-16, and he will steal it. And he does. So stolen base for Kelly Gruber. So Gruber singles and steals second, trying to get something started for the Jays. We'll look at the Gruber stolen base numbers on the replay and real world and see how he did or has done. In the real season, he stole 12 bases, got caught twice. In the replay, this is his 4th stolen base. He's been caught twice. So stolen base number 4 for Kelly Gruber. He's at second base with 1 out for Willie Upshaw. Lefty on lefty matchup. That is a 3-11. This 6 got pushed way down here. 3-11. And that's a ballpark single check. It's a 1-2-11. And that's a base hit. It's going to put runners on the corners with 1 out. Upshaw, with runners on the corners, he will not try to steal. So they're going to hold him. He will be held on, but he won't try to steal. Here comes Manny Lee. He struck out and almost had to leave the game via injury. Royals playing for the double play. 5-4. He's a switch-hitter batting right-handed. That's a 1-11 home run chance, but he's got weak power. So 1-11 would be a single 2 stars. 12-20 would be a double. That is a 15, so that's a double. We'll see if Upshaw can score or not. We know Gruber's going to score, and the Blue Jays take a 2-1 lead. Upshaw was a 14 runner, was being held, makes him a 13. The double is assumed to go to center field. Center fielder Wilson's a +2, so that makes that a 15. 1-15 to score him. And if they throw, then Lee's going to take third base on the throw. So they're going to send him. The Blue Jays are going to send him. 1-15. And boy, do you throw for the plate or do you keep Lee at second base with one out? Man. I don't think you can let Lee get to third base with one out. So they're just going to cut the throw. It's a 2-run double for Manny Lee. RBIs 5 and 6 on the replay for Manny Lee. So with one out and Lee at second base, we have Ernie Whitt. 3-3 for Whitt against the lefty. He's going to ground it to second. That's going to be 2 away with Lee going to third base. So now 2 outs in a clutch situation for Tony Fernandez. In the clutch, Fernandez against the left-hander. Wow, he's completely neutral in the clutch. Actually, on both sides, he's not rated for clutch at all. That's a 1-7, and that's going to be a base hit. 1-7 is a 1-3 double. 4-20 is a single. That's going to be a 1. It'll be a double, 2 stars. Doesn't matter about the stars. The runner was on third base, so it's an RBI double for Tony Fernandez. Blue Jays have exploded for 3 runs in this inning. And now here's Lloyd Mosby. It's a 2-11 for Mosby, and he's going to ground it to short to end the inning. 3 runs come in off of Leibrandt. And we go to the bottom of the fourth, 4-1. Stieb has been given a good lead to work with. And now he'll be facing Eisenreich to lead things off. Eisenreich a sacrifice fly his first time. 3-7, and he's going to ground it to second where Lee will make the play. 1 down for Bo Nose. Bo struck out his first time up. 3-5, and that's a ballpark blast, but it's only a 1-3. Very little chance here, 1-3. And that's going to be a deep fly to left. That brings up Jamie Quirk. 3-4 for Quirk, and he is hit by the pitch. Jamie Quirk gets plunked. Don't think Steve was throwing at him. I think he just had a curveball get away and got him on the foot. So 2 out hit by pitch. Brings up Buddy Biancalana. Struck out his first chance. 6-6. He's going to strike out once more. Strikeout number 4 for Mr. Steve. And after 4 complete, it's Toronto 4 and Kansas City 1. Toronto 4, Kansas City 1. Good morning, Joel. It'll be Leibrandt back out, trying to do better than he did last inning, that's for sure. Coffee's starting to get a little bit on the cool side, but we'll try to move and drive on without it. All right, so Barfield. 4-7, and that is a ground ball second base X. We're looking at Biancalana. 2E27. 2-16 is good. 2-27. 27, and that is a 14 at second base. E27. There's a 13 and a 15, but no 14. So Biancalana catches a break, makes the play. 1 away. Hello, Paul. Good to see you. Here is George Bell. And for Joel and Paul, whoever came in later, This game didn't start in the stream until 16 and a half minutes in. I did put up a vote before the game started of which game to be played, and this game was picked. So I filled out. It was the first 15 or 16 minutes is me just filling out the score sheet. So not that that's exciting TV, but just a little bit different than what I usually do. Here's George Bell, 2-8, and that's going to be a fly to center, 2 down. Two down, and that's going to take us to Cecil Fielder. 6-11, and that's a walk. Leibrandt, and that is the second walk by Leibrandt. Fielder, of course, is definitely no threat to run. He's not even a threat to walk. More of a threat to waddle. And here is Kelly Gruber. 4-9, and that's going to be a ground ball to Biancalana, and that will end the inning. We go to the bottom of the fifth. Still 4-1 Toronto. And Angel Salazar, the batter, number 9 hitter. Salazar popped up to Gruber his first time up. Four, 7, and that's a base on balls by Stieb. So his control has been a little bit off today. That is, let's see here, the third walk plus he's hit a batter. So Salazar down 4-0. They're not going to 4-1. They're not going to try to run and run themselves out of an inning. So he will stay at first base. They will hold him on, but he's not going to go anywhere. Here's Willie Wilson. 5-7, switch hitter batting left, and that's a 1-3 single. Anything else, a line out to Manny Lee. And it's a 3 right on the number. So base hit Willie Wilson. First and second, nobody out. Back come the Royals. Kevin Seitzer, the batter. 4-5, and that's going to be a fly ball to right field C. So since it's a C, it was not deep enough to go anywhere for any runner to move up. So they stand pat. 1 away for the veteran George Brett. 5-12, and that's a ground ball first base C. And since Tri-Fam's here, the old Tri-Fam scoring routine of a 3-1 on the ground ball C. And that's going to put runners at second and third with 2 outs. And it's all up to Danny Tartable in a clutch situation. Tartable in the clutch will lose several hits, actually. 2-8, 2-9, and 3-10. Got to avoid those numbers. We get a 4-7, and that's going to be a walk. Another walk issued by Steve, his 4th. And it's going to load the bases. So maybe it was a pitch around kind of thing to pitch to Eisenreich. I don't know. Now it's bases loaded for Eisenreich. He's 0 for 1 with a sacrifice fly. And that's a 1-8. And that's a ground ball to first. That'll do it. Upshaw to the bag. And Steve pitches around the mess. So we played 5, and it's Toronto 4, Kansas City 1. Start the 6th inning. And it'll be the bottom of the order. Upshaw, Lee, and Witt due up for the Toronto Blue Jays. 4 runs, 7 hits, and no errors for Toronto. 1 run, 3 hit, and no errors for Kansas City to this point. Leibrandt to Upshaw, 2-9. Lines it to short, right there to Salazar. 1 away. Manny Lee. 3-8 for Lee, and that's a base hit. Lee is now 2 for 3. And he might be looking. No, he's not going to look to run. He's going to stay where he is. Here's Ernie Witt. He's not even going to be held, actually. Here's Ernie Witt. 4-10 for Witt against the lefty. And that's a ballpark single check. 1-11. but it's going to be a fly out to center field, and that's out number 2 for Tony Fernandez. Fernandez had an RBI double his last time up. We had a 6-4 switch hitter batting right-handed. 6-4 is a ground ball third base X. Looking at Seitzer. Seitzer's a 4, E26. 4 and a 16, he'll get to that. The E26 is the issue. E26, he's got to avoid 10, 11, 15, and 17. Those are the 4 numbers to avoid. And a 10, he did not avoid it. That'll be an error on Seitzer. Look at it again. Seitzer in E26, and the 10 is the first number shown right there. So E5 will extend the inning to Lloyd Mosby. Leibrandt looks a little perturbed. Says, come on, man, you're playing on AstroTurf. You ought to be able to make that play. So here's Lloyd Mosby in the clutch against a left-hander. Mosby in the clutch will lose a hit on 3-9. But we get a 3-8 instead, which is a 1-9 single that would load the bases, or a 10-20 line out. And that's a 10, round the number. So Buddy Biancalana snags it out of thin air to end the inning. Leibrandt pitches around the error. So we go to the bottom of the 6th, still 4-1. And this is the fatigue inning now for Dave Stieb. He has that 6 right there on his card. So fatigue, we'll keep an eye on his fatigue. Bo Knows will lead things off. 1-6, and Bo Knows another strikeout. That's what Bo knows. And that is strikeout number 5 for Steve to go with his 4 walks. Brings up Jamie Quirk. 1-7 for Quirk, and he strikes out. Strikeout number 6 for Steve. 2 down. For Buddy Biancalana. He's 0 for 2. He struck out twice. 6-8. And this time he's going to get a base hit. 1-3 is a double. 4-20 is a single. And that's a single. 2-out single for Buddy Biancalana. He's no threat to run. Angel Salazar, the batter. Whoops, hit the wrong button on the computer. Let me back that up. Hit too many S's there. Gave him a strikeout instead of a single. So I got a good thing for the undo button. All right, here's Salazar. 4-4, and that's a catcher X. We're looking at Ernie Witt. He's a 2. 2 and a 4. This could be some sort of a wild pitch, pass ball situation. 2 and a 4 is a wild pitch, and it will be a wild pitch unless there's an error made. He's a 2. Only error is on a 3, 17, and 18. And that is a 15, so he's okay there. But it will be a wild pitch on Steve, and that will move Biancalana to second base. Into scoring position. This turns us into a clutch at bat now for Salazar. And we'll check his numbers in the clutch against right-handers. That'll take away 3 of his hits. 3-5, 3-9, and 3-10, although I don't think the wild pitch was intentional. 4-2, and that's a strikeout. So he strikes out the side, and he will carry plenty of endurance into the 7th inning for sure. We go to the 7th. It is still 4-1 in favor of the Blue Jays. And Charlie Leibrandt, this is his fatigue inning, number 7. So we'll keep an eye on his fatigue. And he'll be facing 3 tough right-handed hitters, Barfield, Bell, and Fielder. 2-9 for Barfield. Struck him out. That is strikeout number 2 for Leibrandt. He's only gotten 2 strikeouts to go with 2 walks. But nice time to get one there to keep Barfield off the bases. Here's Bell. 4-5, and that's a line out right to Biancalana. We're out number 2. For Cecil Fielder, designated hitter. 4-3, ground ball pitcher X right back to Leibrandt. Leibrandt is a 1 on the computer. They gave him a 1 range, so he's going to get to it. He's an E24. So on an E24 for a pitcher, he's got lots of error chances. 10, 11, 12, 15, 17, and 18. That's a 10, so that will be an error on Leibrandt. Again, he's an E24. The 10 is the first number sitting right there. It's the second time we rolled a 10 and gotten an error. A lot of times on Super Advanced, you roll a 10, you know it's not an error, but we've had it happen twice here. Second error on the Royals. Leibrandt has nobody complain but himself, and now sarcastically, Seitzer looks over and says, "What happened, Charlie? You're on AstroTurf. Why didn't you make that play?" So there could be some dissension in the ranks there. Here's Gruber, 4-4, and that is a ballpark single check, which again is a 1 to an 11. This time it's going to fail. It's a fly to left, and that'll end the inning. So Leibrandt will keep full endurance into the 8th. 7th inning stretch time, it's 4-1. And Willie Wilson will be stepping to the plate. Willie Wilson, 1 for 3. That's a 2-5, and that's going to be a ground ball to first. Upshaw will handle it by himself, waves off Stieb. 1 away. Seitzer now, 1 for 3. And that is a 5-6, and that's a strikeout for Stieb, his 8th. Stieb's on a roll. Here's George Brett, 0 for 2. 5-9 lefty. It's a fly to center, and that's an easy inning for Stieb. He will keep endurance into the 8th. We go to the 8th inning, and the score is still 4-1. Both offenses kind of stagnant at the moment. Leibrandt back out. Will face Upshaw, Lee, and Witt. Lefty for Upshaw. 5-5, and that's going to be a base hit off Leibrandt. 1 to 5 is a double. 6 to 20 is a single, and that'll be a single, leadoff single for Willie Upshaw. And now they got action in the Kansas City bullpen as we have right-hander Bob Stoddard loosening in the bullpen, just in case Leibrandt hits his fatigue. Here's Manny Lee. And we get a 2-8 for Lee against the lefty, and that's a ground ball to third. Get a fielder's choice on the ground ball third base B. They get the fielder's choice, can't get the double play, but they'll take what they can get. 1 away, and that brings up Ernie Witt. Oops, Ernie Witt, lefty, 3-4. Ground ball third base A, that's an around the horn double play this time, 5-4-3 to end the inning. But Giovanni's Tailor Shop had nothing to do with that double play because it was not a tailor-made double play. It was an around the horn double play. Still looking for sponsorship maybe from Dodge, since they're Ram tough to go around the horn. All right, bottom of the 8th we go. Stieb will be facing Tartable, Eisenreich, and Jackson. That is a 5-6 for Stieb, and that's another strikeout. Strikeout number 9. Stieb is just locked in. Here's Eisenreich. He's 0 for 2. Sack fly. 4-5, and that is a fly to left field. 2 down. George Bell hauls it in. And here comes Bo Nose. And so far, Bo is known striking out twice. 6-8, and this time Bo's going to get a hit. 1 to 3 is a double, 4 to 20 is a single. And that's a single for Bo Nose. But down 4-1, they're not going to have him try to steal. 2 outs, and Jamie Quirk, the batter. They will hold Jackson on, though. And Jamie Quirk steps to the plate. That's a 2-7 for Quirk, and he's going to strike out. Strikeout number 10 for Dave Stieb. And we'll see if he finishes what he starts. He's got a very good chance at doing so, the way he's pitching. So we go to the top of the ninth. And let's see, does Leibrandt, they're going to go ahead and let Leibrandt start the ninth. They do have Stoddard if they need him, but got a switch and a left coming up. So they're going to let Leibrandt pitch to Fernandez to start the inning. And this is a 6-9 switch hitter. 6-9 is a pop out to first. Let me see, am I losing the cards? I might need to move this stuff over. Yep, I need to move this over a little bit. So a 6-9. 6-9 on Leibrandt is a pop to first. So that's one away. Brings up Lloyd Mosby. Lefty. 2-4 for Mosby, and he grounds it to second. Biancalana is there. So we could be looking at a double complete game here. What a novelty that would be, right? Well, not in 1987. That was a regular occurrence in 87. Here's Barfield. 1-2 for Barfield, and that's a ballpark single check. 1-11. 16, though, it'll fail. He flies to left, and that's going to end the inning. So Leibrandt's going to go 9 innings. He will go what should be a complete game, assuming it doesn't go extra innings. He will get that complete game. So we'll put this in the computer real quick. Pop to first. Grounder to second. And a fly to left. So Stieb coming out to start the bottom of the ninth, but Tom Hinkie is loosening the bullpen just in case he runs into trouble. They do have their closer, Tom Hinkie, and he is available and ready to go if needed. Royals will now go to the bench as we are late in the game, so they will be pinch hitting for Biancalana, as you might expect. And if you were here early, you saw who's on the bench and who wasn't. So looking at her, I'll do a quick review. The only lefty on the bench is Thad Bosley, and he hit 279, so we're going to go ahead and go with him. But they also had Frank White, Balboni, Beniquez, Owen, and McRae available. But you would think the manager would go with a lefty as a pinch hitter. So that's what we're going to do. Thad Bosley is going to lead things off. Pinch hitting here in the ninth, so we'll bring on Bosley and get his numbers on the replay. He has not done well on the replay for sure, but maybe he can turn something around here. Bosley on the replay is only hitting 165, 2 homers, 9 driven in, and he hit 279 real world, so he's definitely underperforming. He's had 97 at bats, so it's not like he's playing on a small sample size here. He only had 140 bats all year, so it's time for him to start producing. 2-7, and he will strike out. Strikeout number 11 for Dave Stieb. I don't think it's going to matter who they bring up to pinch hit. I think they're just done at this point. I think Stieb just pretty much has them baffled here. They'll pinch hit for, let's see, I don't think they can pinch hit for Salazar, though, because they won't have anybody to play shortstop because they already used Biancalana. So they really can't pinch hit for Salazar. He will have to hit for himself. Salazar will have to hit for himself. Stieb trying to tell Hinkie, you can sit down. I got this handled. That's a 110 for Salazar, and he lines it, but right to Tony Fernandez, 2 down. And last chance up is the top of the order, and Willie Wilson. Stieb has scattered 5 hits and pitched. He had a rough first inning, but after that, he's been in control the whole time. 6-4, and that's a fly to center, and that's going to do it. Dave Stieb, a complete game victory. He will get his 10th win of the season. Leibrandt will take the loss. Go to the box score and get the totals. And see what we've got. So Toronto was facing a lefty and Kansas City was facing a righty. Here we go. So 4 runs, 9 hits, and no errors for Toronto. 1 run, 5 hits, and 2 errors for Kansas City. So 9 innings pitched, 9 hits for Leibrandt, 4 earned runs, 2 walks, 2 strikeouts for Dave Stieb. 9 innings pitched, 5 hits allowed, 1 run it was earned, walked 4, struck out 11, did hit a batter. So there you go, player of the game without question, Dave Stieb. He is your player of the game. He wins his 10th game, lowers his ERA to 3.96. He had a 4.09 real world, so he's getting better now than what his previous number or previous record was. He was 13-9. Right now he's 10-4, so he's doing very, very well for himself. Toronto improves to 48-32. Kansas City drops to 42-38. So now let's look at the standings and see what that does, because both these teams were in second place, chasing their respective leaders. Toronto, with the win, pulls to within 6.5 of Milwaukee. And with the loss, Kansas City drops to 6.5 behind Oakland. So both leaders have a 6.5 game lead so far, but they've got to play. They haven't played their games for today yet either. So they could either take a 7-game lead or drop back to a 6-game lead, depending on what happens. So I'm not sure what the game will be tomorrow. It will either be Cleveland, Chicago, or Texas, New York. I haven't decided which one, but basically all I do is this 2-sided score sheet is just flip it over. Put a little piece of tape here to try to keep it in place. So I just flip it over and start for the next game, which would be game number, according to this, 557. Played Sunday, July the 5th, 1987. And that's got to figure out what game I want to play. Whether it's Longhorn Steakhouse, that's a possibility. I never thought about them. We do have a Longhorn Steakhouse in this area, so I guess it is a national chain. But I use the back of the sheet, Dan. I don't want to. I'm cheap. I don't like to use a whole lot of paper. So that's just me. That's just me. When I come to that, I just don't like to use a lot of paper. What can I tell you? So I will, after this is over, I will put in the description that the video starts at 16:30. And that way, I believe Ben said people can fast forward to that if they like. But before I go, 2 public service announcements. And most people probably know a lot about the first one, and that is try not to use these on your cards, on your Strat cards. They will, over time, melt into the cards, stick to the cards, and when you try to get them off, they will remove the paper. So try not to use those if at all possible. Also, try to avoid using this. Friends don't let friends corner around. I know I tried it at one point. You can do it for something like History Maker where the cards are basically crap. But nice cards like Payoff Pitch and Inside Pitch, don't corner around them, folks. Don't want to ruin your cards. So, but yes, I was corner rounding before corner rounding was cool. And I learned this from Al Wilson way back in the day. But with my hand, it would probably hurt my hand to do it if I did all those teams. But now for History Maker, I think it works well for History Maker because those cards are, like I said, are really nothing to speak of. So you're not really hurting anything there, that's for sure. Or if you have PDFs, you're not going to hurt anything with a PDF either. You can corner around PDFs, no problem. But I wouldn't do it with those nice Payoff Pitch cards or the Dan, I think it's because APA has rounded corners and people like the rounded corners. They do kind of move around your hand a little bit better if you're stacking them up. At least the History Maker cards do. I don't know about the benefit of doing it for the other ones. I just think it's a fad or a thing or whatever. I don't know. Just to be different. People like to do it, but it's not in my wheelhouse, that's for sure. But as I say, when people play the game they want to play it, and I say make your cards the way you want to make them. If you want to corner around them, go for it. But just don't think it's a worthwhile endeavor. But that's just me. Everybody else has their own opinion, and everybody's entitled to their opinion. No one's wrong, no one's right. It's an opinion. It's what you like. So that's going to do it from here. And poor old Tom Hinkie, one from the bullpen, never got a chance to come in because Steve said, we don't need you. And he was right. So Toronto with the win. And so tomorrow it's either going to be Yankees in Texas or Chicago, Cleveland. Haven't decided yet. I'll pick one of them. Not sure which. And then we'll fill in the score sheet and get ready to go. But now this is done. I need to go put in my description that the game actually starts at the 16-minute, 30-second mark. And then I also need to clear the table out, bring up my golf mat, and start recording the final round of the PGA Championship so I can upload it this afternoon. So thanks to everybody for spending part of your Monday morning with me. Hope you all have a great start to your week. And until next time, enjoy playing whatever game you choose to play, however you choose to play it, and we'll see you all down the road.